T2 Haste Coronal Planning. Plan the coronal slices on the axial localizer and position the block horizontally across the liver as depicted. Verify the position in the other two planes. Establish an appropriate angle in the sagittal plane, aligning it vertically across the liver. Ensure that the slices adequately cover the entire liver, extending from the anterior abdominal wall to the erector spinae muscles. The phase direction should be from right to left to minimize ghosting artifacts from the lungs and heart. Employ phase oversampling to prevent wraparound artifacts. Instruct the patient to breathe gently throughout the scan.
T2 Haste Axial Planning. Plan the axial slices on the coronal breath hold images and position the block horizontally across the liver as shown. Verify the positioning in the other two planes. Establish an appropriate angle in the sagittal plane, aligning it horizontally across the liver. The phase direction should be from right to left to minimize ghosting artifacts from the anterior abdominal wall. Use phase oversampling to prevent wraparound artifacts. Adding saturation bands on the top and bottom of the axial block will help reduce arterial pulsation and breathing artifacts. Instruct the patient to breathe gently throughout the scan.
T2 space or T2 TSE coronal respiratory gated 1 mm. Plan the coronal 3D sequence on the axial haste scan. Position the block across the common bile duct and pancreatic duct. Verify the positioning in the other two planes. Establish an appropriate angle in the sagittal plane, aligning it horizontally across the bile duct. Ensure that the slices adequately cover the entire common bile duct, pancreatic duct, and gallbladder. Use phase oversampling to prevent wraparound artifacts. In our department, we utilize liver dome navigators for coronal 3D space sequences. It is crucial to accurately position the respiratory navigator box for liver dome respiratory gated scans. Place the box in the middle of the right dome of the diaphragm, ensuring that half of the box is positioned over the right lobe of the liver, segment 8, and the other half over the lungs. Planning should be carried out in a non-breath hold localizer, as the liver is pushed down by the diaphragm during inhalation, which can result in improper slice planning and positioning of the respiratory navigator box. Instruct the patient to breathe gently throughout the sequence, as very shallow or erratic breathing can diminish the effectiveness of the navigator.